You would have heard Katrina then use the phrase severe weather warnings. Joining us now on the phone is Met Services Georgina Griffiths, because the weather is going to be foul. Georgina, it's lovely to have you with us. We think you're a fantastic forecaster, but what's happening? What's going to come?
Oh, John, it's been busy, I have to say. And this low coming out of the Tasman is a real rainmaker, and it's also got an area of severe gales around and a ring around it. And just so we clarify, this isn't actually the remnants of TC Debbie, but it does pick up some of that super tropical air from the Tasman that originally came from her, and hence the heavy rain warnings for central New Zealand and also Bay of Plenty, Rotorua and Coromandel. In fact, I can go through the warnings if you want. But
I think we'd love it, because there are people listening in these areas. So please, where should people get prepared to protect themselves as well as they can against very heavy rain?
That's right. So this, it's the downpours embedded in 2 days of rain, John. So Tuesday, Wednesday, it sort of kicks in from tonight. And so it's a 2-day event with the risk of downpours from up to the North Island, also north of the south. So the key spots for rain warnings at the moment: Taranaki, Whanganui, Taranaki ranges, also Hawke's Bay in the ranges, and the coastal hills south of Cape Kidnappers. Quite large numbers in those regions. So Taranaki up to 250 millimetres on the coast, but 300 to 400 millimetres in the mountain. Yes, big numbers, 100 to 150 millimetres of rain in Hawke's Bay. Wairarapa as well, away from the Tararuas, lower numbers, 120 or so millimetres, forecast potentially up to 160 up the back. So quite a big chunk of the North Island, and watches and warnings all around those areas I've just mentioned. We're also on watch for heavy rain in Tomarunui, Taihape, Coromandel, Bay of Plenty, Rotorua, where the risk for downpour is really high in that particular area. Manawatu, Horowhenua, Kapiti Coast, Wellington, Marlborough and Nelson, all on watch for rain. And those areas have good potential to go into warning as we approach the event. We've just started with the watches and warnings have been in play for about 24 hours, and I'd expect the warnings to amplify and go from a watch to warning once we get some more certainty across much of central New Zealand. So if you live in the North Island or the north of the South Island, just keep up with the Met Service watches and warnings, John, because it is a pretty volatile system. There are also watches in place for wind, severe southeast gales in Taranaki, Whanganui, Horowhenua, Kapiti Coast, and also Bulla. These kick in later tomorrow and through into the early hours of Wednesday. So I have to talk about the impacted areas, particularly if you live in Taupo northwards through Northland. Obviously, we're very humid at the moment, and there will be heavy rain on Tuesday and particularly on Wednesday for these regions. We may see Taupo through Waikato, Auckland and Northland go on to warning as we approach this event, and the risk of downpour looks likely somewhere in that region on Wednesday as well. So it's that burst of heavy rain embedded in large-scale, long-term rain. It's probably of concern in particular for Auckland. There's a lot of landslips in the area, and we've had such a pummelling in the northern New Zealand, John. Wettest March on record, or second wettest March on record, or whatever. It doesn't really matter depending on where you're talking. Yeah. After such a wet March, this is going to be an impactful event.
Georgina Griffiths from the Met Service, we so appreciate it, Georgina. That's really comprehensive, that forecast, but please do keep an eye on what Met Service is telling us over the next couple of days, because as Georgina says, it has the capacity to be really impactful, particularly in areas that have had slips and a lot of flooding over the past months.